Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. Here at America in Black and White, we're the podcast where we have the open and honest conversations about racial disparities, social justice, and the ongoing fight for equality. I'm your host, Charles King, and today we have two incredible and esteemed guests joining us. Reverend Carmen Walker Brown and Charles Avery Brown. They are here to share their experiences, insights, and thoughts on how we can truly bridge the racial divide in America. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Brown. How are you guys doing today?
We're great. You?
Thank you guys for joining us tonight on this episode. And I tell you, I truly would love for you to tell people about what this work is that you guys are doing. But first of all, let's start with Reverend Brown. Can you please give us a little bit about your background? Tell us who you are and some of the things that you do.
All right, family. Good evening. I am Reverend Carmen Walker Brown. I am a native of Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia is the place where I love to be, and I've been a born again Christian since I was 17 years old. I've been minister of music at many churches. I've worked for the federal government and retired. However, while I was working, I focused more on my job than on winning souls. And the Lord has given me a blueprint now to be about his business of winning souls. And I have a great mission ahead of me that I will share with us tonight so that we can all, be focused and thinking about our spiritual eternal life and our life here and our life later after death. So that's what I'm about. I'm a grandmother, a great grandmother, even. I have four daughters, and each one of my daughters have children. So I've been blessed. The Lord has given me a full tree of branches and even more branches that are moving about right now. I asked him to let me see 3 or 4 generations. And so that means I asked for long life. So I'm expecting to be around here a long time, being an advocate and a social advocate as well as a peace advocate for the people that are here in this earth. My husband.
Well, it's an honor to have you with us today. Um, Reverend Brown, Charles, please introduce yourself and tell us about your area of expertise.
Well, my name is Charles Brown, and I am from Cordele, Georgia, about 35, 40 miles outside of Albany, outside of Macon. I take that back. Also, I'm a native here in Atlanta. Um, my wife and myself, we started this organization back in 2014. That's the day I was arrested. And from that point forward, we've been very aggressive, active in the community and trying to bring awareness to the public of how this system, this black and white that we're going to be discussing tonight, is corrupted and is not for the people. So from that point forward, we've been driving hard and hard.
Well, that's fantastic. We have two incredible perspectives on our show tonight. Let's dive right into our discussion. One of the key challenges we face in America is the racial divide, which continues to persist despite multiple efforts to bridge the gap. What do you think are some of the underlying reasons for this divide? That's for you, Reverend Brown.
Well, many of the first and foremost is because we don't understand who we are. We're kings and queens in this earth, and a lot of our legacy and our history has been kept from us. We have been domiciled and made to transform our mind and our thinking into what uh, our oppressors wanted it to be. And unfortunately, um, those thoughts permeate uh, the newest generation. They don't even realize it, but they are still under the spell of the oppressor. And thank God we have people that are woke. Amen to that part. Woke to making sure that, the word gets around. It may be moving around slowly, but there are some people out here that know who we are and they're sharing it. Our history has been whitewashed, and people are using this internet, the very thing that we're using today, to convey true facts of our history. And it just behooves us. They said we don't read, but we definitely will look at a video. We will definitely put our fingers on these phones and these devices to find out what the world is talking about. And so a lot of that history is being taught. We lost a lot of standards. We lost a lot of family togetherness. We lost a lot of hope in our family because um, people were not just loving and cohesive like they were in past generations. But I believe that's going to come together quickly.
Right.
Do you believe that this is due to people losing their moral values and compasses that make them want to have love and care to go throughout this world on a daily basis?
That's what I'm saying. Our families have values. The government did a lot to tear our families up. Selling the children, separating families. You got defects and all kind of organizations intervening. Some was necessary, but a whole lot of them not. And removing the fathers, creating this system to uh, put men in jail because they weren't able to give money. A lot of them, of course, didn't want to. But that system aside, the government has done a lot to disparage families, to disparage marriage, and keep the families together. Therefore, grandmama, who now is, like teenagers, like me, for instance. I mean, I'm a grandmother and a great grandmother, but I'm not a rocking chair. I don't sit at home and babysit and do all those things that grandmothers used to do before. But I still want my children to be knowledgeable about the standards of living, the things that will make them become productive and good citizens in the land. And if we don't have good citizens, then we don't have any peace. And so, therefore, that word was not getting out. People don't go to church. I was saying today, you hardly ever find people even wanting to talk about their life adventures or instances, experiences, as according to the Bible, because a whole lot of people are not reading the Bible. A whole lot of people are not even wanting to read the Bible. They're trying to find controversy with the Bible. But if you know, read that word, hear what the Spirit is saying to you, and it will get you on point, on track.
Well, Mr. Brown, I got this question for you. How do you view the role of faith and spirituality in addressing social justice issues within communities?
Well, the things that we doing now is based upon uh, the faith and the belief that we have as advocates, as victims, as individuals, souls, spirits. That's what we operate off of here in Georgia. Most of the counties that we go into, faith, belief, passion, there. So what we do in the social justice field is educate, bring awareness and connection. So if there's no connection, then we can't unify. If we can't unify, then we can't mobilize. And that's why me, my wife, and other individuals that's on this podcast tonight is demanding social justice be understood, that we need to be identified who we are and stand on that principle, that faith and that belief that you have in you every morning that you get up, that spark that motivates you. That's what drives us in social justice here in Georgia.
So tell me this. What has been the impact of the work that you guys are doing right now at this point?
Wow. You want to
Yeah.
lead?
Well, the impact has been giving people hope, giving people an idea of knowing who the creator is, first of all, because these entanglements with justice can be uh, harrowing, as the word goes. Um, we need for people to understand, first of all, God tells us that we are a member of the body of Christ. If you have yielded your life to Christ, you are a part of the body, and He protects His own. The Creator gave us many inalienable rights, and I'm probably not saying that word correctly, but He gave us rights because He laid down the law first. He was the law, and He is the law, and He left many rules and things for us to live by. Now, it also tells us that He also gave us rulers or governors, people in authority over us. Yes, because the people asked for it. And when those rulers don't seem to rule with a righteous arm or with uh, not necessarily compassion towards the people, but righteously and not being of evil mind and deceptive and all that, if they do that, then the people have a right to stand up to disobey the tyrant and recall them, remove them, get them out of the way, and get some right those positions of authority that will lead the people righteously.
And piggyback off of that, um, and to the question that you asked of things that we have done here in Georgia to overcome the things that you were mentioning earlier, the depression. So there are some individuals, brothers, sisters of mine that we have helped got untangled from the gravity tyrants. So I don't mind sharing their names, but there's at Juneteenth, we will be, all of us, 159 counties will be present at Juneteenth. So that's every county in Georgia that we have helped, nearly over 100 counties that we have helped, still helping and overcoming this depression. And she was right that we are the people and we have that right to remove them, do a recall. And you can Google that. Whatever state you in, just Google recall, whatever state you in, then you'll find out how many people you need to remove those people that been elected by voters here in your state or here in Georgia. And we sick and tired of. And so that's why me and my wife put this organization together with other organizations that's on this phone, on this podcast with us and standing with the people here in Georgia. So we have helped many, many individuals to get on probation. We also advocate for mental health that's on parole and probation. We also help individuals with habeas corpus. That habeas corpus means a civil petition, like a civil lawsuit. And most of the brothers and sisters that's incarcerated in Georgia do not understand that process. And we are here to help them with that. So yes, we have helped many people here in Georgia. Yes.
And we also being a resource for housing, for
Right.
food, clothing, um, just the conveniences of life, the basic necessities of life. When someone comes and need help, we try to be that resource. And if we can't do it, we definitely find a resource that will help them. And our wonderful partners, the street groomers, is always there to help. Our other partners help the grieving mothers that are grieving their loved ones being killed by law enforcement. We also help some families that have been dealing with being put out of their homes. If need be, we try to help them get relocated or do whatever paperwork is necessary to get them to stay. Or if the people are successful in getting them out of the place, then we help them move and make sure things are okay until they get a more permanent place.
Right.
Let me go back to that previous question because Sounds like when Mr. Brown was doing a follow up to your answer,
Mhm.
Mr. Brown, is it true to say that the long arms of the law you feel like has caused you some injustices?
Oh yeah.
Yes, and it continued to be that way until we, as the people, unify and get together and educate each other to understand that the injustice that been placed upon me and my family, and why me and my family and wife started this campaign because of my incarceration back in 2014 on Mother's Day. That was the last day I seen my mother. So I was arrested from a legal traffic stop. That was from 2014 all the way up to now. Still, me and my family fight that case. And so that incarceration caused a lot of mental um, problems, issues that needed to be treated at that time of my incarceration, from the traffic stop all the way inside of a prison here in Georgia. One of most of the deadliest prison in Georgia where I was housed at. So from that point forward, from being released on parole in 2018. So once I was, yes.
So tell us this. So with this 10 years that has passed since that incarceration, and you said that there's a continuation of a problem with the system. What exactly has happened and is happening that's causing you these problems?
The tyrant,
They're dealing with parole and probation.
right? The tyrants. When I say tyrants, I mean the continuation of parole that still attached to me, along with the criminal conviction. So it's still attached on and it's still going forward. So my family and I and legal team have issued a federal complaint at this point against the district attorney and the whole county of Cordele, Georgia, and with Chris County. And we definitely filed a federal complaint against them, and charges will be brought forth against the district attorney as well. So this case and this is incarceration is personal because of the tyrants, meaning the DAs and the Superior Court judges down there in Cordele, Georgia. But we have filed a federal complaint and we are very aggressive with it. And we are asking the people to take down the case number so that you guys could pull the case file yourself and get a chance to look at how you guys can operate and continue to stand against the tyrants and the injustice here in Georgia.
So wait, let me make sure something. You just said that it's personal. You feel like that the DA and the judges in Cordele were personal in the attacks on you?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Um, yes. Not only that, the lawsuit case number that I'm gonna give you guys today, and you can get a lawyer to pull it up for you. I'll be glad that this information get out. So this lawsuit is against the parole board itself
Mhm.
and its supervisors and community supervisors. So what gonna happen with that is once the individual, not inmate, once the individual be released from Georgia prison, he go back to the community where he was convicted from or where he will be resigned. And once he get into that community supervisor will call you in and give you some instruction, not explaining, but give you some instruction and you mental health. So they have a mental health parole officer for mental health individuals that getting out of mental health institution / prison, coming back to the community without proper medication, treatment, things of that nature, and cause that person to relapse, to not give a care and end up getting killed or back into prison.
Oh, so now I understand. you're saying that there was diagnoses of some things that was going on with you in the process. In that process, they didn't do due diligence
Right.
when you was released in order to ensure that things were going to continue from a higher point of medical standards to keep you just on a consistent level.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. In a sense, what I'm getting at is that if you are mental health on parole, I don't care what state you in,
Uh-huh.
right? You will have a trained or certified mental health parole officer that can identify and don't cause triggers. Triggers cause crimes.
Yeah.
Crime cause
Okay.
conviction, and conviction cause death. Because getting pulled over for a traffic stop shouldn't be a death sentence. Going to jail shouldn't be a death sentence. So if you are on parole, mental health, you are facing a death sentence.
Wow.
Because
Um, Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to say, I spoke with them many times about the team of care. They say that they release the person into the community, and you have a team of care. You have a mental health parole officer. You have your clinical people that work with you, and that's in behavioral health as well as physical health. And none of them have a or system they communicate with or a plan that they communicate with each other by. They only talk with the person uh, whenever the person is appointed or have an appointment to go and see them. There is no conversation going on what could help that person in society, and it's terrible. We saw more triggers, more conversations to combat Mr. Brown. And what it is they felt like he was combative and just speaking up for his rights. Just speaking up for his rights when people aren't doing their jobs and when they're not doing things fairly. Okay, one thing that really happened in particular, he is mental health. He was considered mental health, and the doctors were giving him medication. Okay, baby. The doctors were giving him medication that caused him to his body to react and giving false positives. Have
right.
you know what false positives are?
Okay, so when you say false positive, you mean as to drug use.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Whenever they ask for one of those P tests, um, it would come up like he was on drugs when he was not. And those things were triggers because you kept threatening to put somebody back in prison to send them right back to the place they were just released from. Oh my God. So it was a trigger. It was a
And
nightmare.
and that trigger caused me to be um, signed in to a mental health facility here um, in Atlanta because of that trigger, because of that untrained parole mental health parole officer. That would trigger that, and that caused me to attempt suicide. I went in home 8 months. Within 90 days being home, multiple grievances were filed. Within 8 months, I attempted suicide, and they realized that the
Mm.
pill that they was giving us, mental health parolees that's on mental health, you got to take some type of pills. Those pills is on one sheet, and those pills, which were 10 of them, I went out 10 months. I'm taking 10 pills, high doses, and these pills keep you unstable. And those pills will give you a false positive for PCP, heroin, methamphetamine, THC, as well as methamphetamine, cocaine. And all of this was brought to their attention. Now they to a point like we sorry, that's not good enough. And
It's just as bad as wearing a leg monitor, which is no good either. It's a horrible system.
Well, I'm glad that you're doing much better now, and thank you for being a part of this show. I don't think that anyone should have to go through that. And whatever you guys are doing, my prayers go out to you
Thank
that somebody can actually see that there was definitely an injustice done that needs to be remedied.
Yes.
Can you tell us what inspired you all to combine your faith with community activism and bridge the racial divide?
Just our love for each other, first of all, and inspiring one another, supporting one another to go through this process. Because, as he mentioned, when he was in the mental health facility, I had a heart attack.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I had a heart attack, an aneurysm, and a stroke all at the same time. That's what the doctor said. I was in ICU for 9 days.
Right.
But if you look at me now, you won't even believe that, really, literally, because all of my faculties are here. My body is stronger than ever. And it really made me aware of type of stress that can come from your loved one being uh, just battered and bruised for years and years and years. I feel like he has been battered and bruised since he was 19 years old, and it's still going, because that was the first time they kidnapped him off of the street. Of course, I didn't know him at the
Oh my
time.
God, you say
I
kidnap.
said kidnapped because they were doing stings, just all kind of stings of just taking people off the street.
Right.
And whether you were doing anything, whether you were guilty or not, uh,
Hmm.
you got entangled and you had to find a way to get yourself out of it. But at 19 years old, who knows anything? Uh, Sometimes people do, but if you hadn't been one to be held in juvenile detention and so forth and so on, you wouldn't know. And definitely for them to put you in front of a judge without counsel and place you in prison.
Right. Right.
These people are operating the way they want to, thinking that they'll never be challenged. But the Lord has raised up one who is challenging that system, because he gave him the wherewithal, those rules, regulations, and processes on how to get that job done. And he's not only doing it for himself, but he's doing it for all of the people that he has met from prison to prison to prison that have been wrongfully and unduly incarcerated. So he's got a great mission ahead of him. I was like, I don't understand how you were able to even save their documents as well as your own. And he hauled all of those documents around for all that time. But now we're at the point of where we've got to get that work done. And
Right.
it is being accomplished. Glory to God. It is being accomplished. The Lord is giving him the plan to get it done, the people to talk to get it done. It really is amazing to watch. I am really, really just amazed at how the Lord has pulled this together. And he's caused us to come together for this time. So we're happy.
So, in what ways do you believe the principles of justice and equality align with the teachings of your faith?
Well, the principles, we're finding out that they're not being practiced. And we're finding out that we have to do what, let's see, one of our main scriptures of dealing with these people that have rule over us. And it says, hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. We the people have a mandate from God that when our rulers are being difficult, when they are not doing as they should, we have liberty to disobey them, as I mentioned before. A lot of people don't stand on the word of God. But when you go into a courtroom to tell them that the Creator is who you belong to, the Creator is the one that gave you rules and statutes to follow. And man does not have jurisdiction over your body. God does, because you're a part of the body of Christ.
Right.
And therefore, that gives them problems.
Okay. Now, let me just ask you this, because it's a known fact that whatever they say, what's in the criminal code and what's supposed to be law and how it's supposed to apply to everyone, we in the Black community know that that does not include us. And so my thing is, just in this whole entire situation, what has your counsel stated to you that, what has been violated, what he's going to exploit in the system, and how he is going to take this and carry this over to the judge in order to make sure that people understand what has transpired?
Well, now that's a real loaded question, but the answer is seemingly pretty easy, because just recently we have received a case dismissed,
Right.
because the law enforcement was trying to punish and incarcerate an innocent person. And the documents, this blueprint that we have, exonerated the young lady.
Okay, but exonerated that young lady. What about your husband?
Right.
It's working for him as well.
Right. So
because, well, I mean, so let me just make sure you let me just clarify this, so as you explain this to the audience, people understand.
okay.
So if you've got this blueprint, you supposedly that you're saying that worked for another young lady, in your situation, if it cleared you, and it did it like take all this this from your record? Did they give you the public apology? Did they try to make it right by doing the monetizing thing? What exactly transpired that cleared you?
Right. So what will clear not only me as well as the audience. And you're right. Most of the Black community understand that your state you in, especially Georgia, is in a corporation. So until you commit a crime, there's no crime being committed. So we know these incorporations, states, is being operated illegally. And so what we telling these tyrants is that, based on the information that we have, can help a lot of us. First of all, you trademark your name, not a company. That's an LLC. LLC means you limited to do certain things. So your attorney general or your state control your LLC. So if I want to write your LLC up, I'm going straight to your attorney general, secretary of your state, and let them know, hey, you've been operating illegal here in my community. So I'm gonna close your store down, because you got to have an LLC. So we telling these incorporated, your attorney general, which is the lawyer for your state, right? Because your governor got to have a lawyer, and he's the attorney general. So we telling the Black community, telling the attorney general and the governor and the state of Georgia. First of all, we want to know, who is the state of Georgia? If you can give me his name right now, and that's how this clarification, what we saying now is, in your state, Louisiana, New York, whatever your name is, we want to know it. So New York versus William Fred. William Fred stole the bubble gum out the store, a whole bag, and he going to trial next week. But New York versus Lil Fred. Lil Fred saying, before I go to trial, I want to know, who is New York. New York, who is it? Bring him in here. Let me talk to him. Now you violate my right. So the ones that have not committed a crime, like drugs and things in that nature,
murder,
then there's a process to let the Superior Court judge know that you don't have no jurisdiction to be operating the way y'all operate now. Jurisdiction means, show me a contract that I signed with you guys. That's why traffic stop becomes so deadly in every state, because we don't know what to do or who to call besides your mother or your father. So these organizations, these communities must understand if your child, your neighbor, your cousin in your community get pulled over, give them a phone number to call, crack your window, and get somebody there, a supervisor, and call We the People in your community.
No, you're right about one thing, because you are allowed to ask for the superior to come to that scene. That you can do. Now, the thing is, we know that being a black man or being a black person in general, that just does not work. Because once you do that, then you become what they say is you're refusing. Okay. So by refusing, then that's saying that they have all rights to do what they want to do.
Right.
The next thing is, when you mention the state being a corporation, that is the way the entire country of America operates, as a corporation. So in other words, when they say we the people is not really we the people, but what's happening is that, again, this works for some people, not all people. So when we try to call that out in the way in which you're calling out this technicality, this is why they felt like they had some leg and some standing to just continue to run this and run this and run this. Now, what has to happen is your counsel knows how to cut this off at the kneecap. This is the person that needs to be doing each and every single individual that has been wrongfully charged, or the people that he represent, that he knows that these are false charges. It's not about making deals. He needs to do his job for what you guys are paying him for. That's the problem.
Well,
The whole problem is with counsel, because they are employees of the state. They have oaths to the state.
Right.
No. I am my own counsel in the case, as for in the civil, and as for in the criminal. I do have a counsel attached, but I wanted to go a little bit more further of what I was saying about the incorporation, how you contest them and show them if you have not committed no murder.
Right.
And hang on to that, we can do bonds and pay it off, in that sense.
Right.
But these are the practice that we are doing, and it's all over the world. Ain't no secret. It's not no secret anymore. So
but it still stick that on a criminal record, regardless of the case. That right there in itself is an identifier. That's the marker. As long as I got the marker on you, then I'm fine. You can walk the streets all you want to, but what's the first thing they say? Let me run your background.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of running your background is to see if you got that marker. So as long as you got that marker, they have a justifiable reason. This is why, if counsel is going to represent you, period, and they know that what's happened is wrong, they need to have all that removed. So by just saying that this is like done and this is over, it's not.
No.
It's not, because don't care what state you're in. They're all going to do the same thing. And now all states, all 50 of them are connected.
Correct. And so what we have done is, within this state we in, Georgia, every state got to hold your own state down, because you're on your own out here. So with that said, here what we doing here in Georgia is 159 counties. In 159 counties, we'll be in one location, and that will be Juneteenth here in Atlanta, Georgia. So we invite all states to come out. Every chapter to come out, Juneteenth here in Atlanta, Georgia, so that we can explain the entanglement of this justice, and also explain peace and justice. And we the people demand equal justice by all means. And we telling y'all incorporated individuals, you will be removed. And it's kind of quite simple, because if you're not an ad, so if you do a recall on the one that's elected now, because right now this year you have a lot of things running, like state senate, then you got the governor, you have the judges coming up, district attorneys coming up, and so the president seats coming up. So you have some major players coming up in your local city, in your county. And so what I've been noticing is that most of these grassroots organizations, these young individual comrades of mine, we are definitely educating each other. Each one teach one concept, and we are definitely exposing how to defend yourself at a traffic stop, as well as from them terrorists, incorporated individuals inside of that courtroom.
Now, this
So
is
we
what I
have
want you to
a
be
large
very much aware of, because you know you don't
platform.
want folks to misconstrue when you say by any means. Make sure that you know just clarify that, because you know how folks like to take words and they twist them. So just make sure you clarify that.
Right.
Yeah, you want to
So
make sure you clarify that, because you don't want that to just be like it's
right,
when you say by any means, you know, people take that the wrong way.
right. And I take that back. I didn't mean it as an aggressive manner, as we gonna do anything to
We're not the
them
insurrection
tyrants or
people.
anything of that nature. My job is to put you in jail. That's what
Right,
I'm gonna do.
right.
Put them criminals
So,
and DAs in jail. They're what they need to go for. Jails are
so
private
tell
sex.
tell us this: how has your ministry been effective in bringing different communities together, regardless of their religious backgrounds?
My faith is that I'm seeing people from all religious faiths and backgrounds of love and kindness, caring, sharing, being present, uh, offering prayer, offering consolation and comfort. Those are the things that most people are seeking today. They are standing in to be a voice for you when you are so hurt and bruised that you can't speak for yourself. So that's how my faith has bridged the gap amongst all other communities, because we are all people and we all believe in a higher being, however way they get there. I mean, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe he is the savior of the world because of his atoning sacrifice of laying down his life for mankind to bridge the way back to the Father, the loving Father, Creator God. So whether they believe in Jesus Christ or not, they believe in kindness. They believe in warm hand, a warm heart, a listening, a touch. I give out plenty of hugs, and I give out plenty of donations, money, because it's something that will help somebody get over the hump. And when they see that the Lord has blessed me to do many of those kinds of things, it kind of makes them say, it's something to that.
Yeah.
You got me?
I think community growth, community development, as well as the togetherness of communities,
Yeah.
it means everything, especially in our communities, because you know, with things going on like gentrification now, that's
Mm-hmm.
now started some 10, 15 years ago, that's now getting worse and worse and worse. That
Yes.
basically, when we look at our communities, you know, they've taken away a lot of the schools, where now the kids got to go 10, 15, 20 miles away from home. There's
Mm-hmm.
been the situation where now, where you know, you want to create more businesses where people don't have to go 10, 15 miles outside of their communities to get the things they need. So there's a lack of resources, and the reason why there's a lack of resources is because when you do have black owned businesses in communities, the reason when you have those businesses, they're set up on a premise to fail. And so, with them being set up on that premise to fail, and people in the communities are not supporting them, but they're willing now, because it's so ingrained in your mind that you have to go to this community to get what you want because you think it's better. So that means that you've given up on the community, and by giving up on the community, that means that it matters not who's trying to make it better. It's going to take a lot of convincing to get the people to actually do what's necessary. So with that being said, how is it that your ministry is going to be able to actually encapsulate these people, have people to say, look, this is what's going on, and we need your support to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? What is it that your ministry can do to make this happen?
Well, honestly, a lot of what you said, the audio stream was very poor about, but I'm going to what this ministry is doing, if you can hear me clearly. Because I have been in this ministry far longer than I have known Mr. Brown, we still have the connections of many, the plethora of people all around the world. And the connection of each one teach one, each one reach one. It lets us know that we're not out here alone. Sometimes we can make a phone call to someone around the world to give a glass of water to the folks in the hotel next door. I mean, it's just that incredible. And I believe in miracles. I trust God to get his work done. And he is the orchestrator of so much, of everything, as far as I'm concerned. He uses people, what the song says, ordinary people. He uses people to get the job done, to get everything accomplished. And like I said, he gave me a blueprint that will see the support of many people around the world that will cause those that have not come under the ark of safety to be to get up under the ark of safety. The more people that are yielded to Christ and are yielded to righteousness, then the more light and salt there is in the earth, the more there is goodness, the more there is kindness, the more there is righteous indignation. Just don't think that because you are a Christian or because you believe in God the Creator, his Son, and the Holy Spirit, that you're a pushover. No way, no how. Because he gives us armor to deflect the enemy's arrows, the fiery darts that come, because they come. I mean, constantly, if you think about how the enemy, which is the devil, and I'm going to just say that, a lot of people say Satan ain't real, but you see him on TV every day. You see him on videos, and all of our artists replicate an image of Satan with the red devil suits and the moon this and the craziness that. But he's always in your face, and he's just constantly making you think that there isn't a fight for your soul, but there is. And if you continue to operate with him, then you know that's what you do. But I'm on the winning team, and the Lord takes care of his own, and he gives us, he provides for us for the things that are needed to accomplish those goals. So I have no fear of what I need to have to accomplish his work, because I don't even need money. I don't have to have money, because he's rich, and he will cause the rich man, he will cause 10,000 people to come to my aid to give me what I need to accomplish his work. So, I mean, I don't know what to say behind that. A whole lot of people may not have that kind of trust and faith, but I do, because I've lived this life this long, and it's been wonderful. It hasn't been without tragedy. It hasn't been without chaos. Like I told you, I had a heart attack, aneurysm, and stroke. But baby, can you look at me now?
There you go. There you go.
I'm just saying, I am a poster child for what God can do, for one. Yes, I am a poster child, because the people told me, Miss Brown, for what you went through, most people don't make it to the hospital. And if they do, they certainly do not leave walking and talking like you are. So you are a miracle. And that's what he does. He's a miracle worker. And he works miracles on every facet of life if people would be yielded to trust him.
Oh,
I hope that's
wow.
what I can convey on.
That is so profound. That is so profound. Can you share an example of a successful project or initiative where faith communities united to address a specific social justice issue?
Where faith communities united on social issues.
Yes, they united to address a specific social justice issue.
Yes, I can tell you one specifically. The Ahmaud Arbery case.
Yeah.
The Ahmaud
Okay.
Arbery case, one trial.
Yeah.
You remember the attorneys and all the other folks were talking about, we don't want any more black preachers coming up in here in this courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, people of faith are the ones that are out there protesting and marching and telling people of the malfeasance and violations of the oppressors. And they dared the faith community to come down to Brunswick, Georgia.
Yeah.
And baby, I had to get in my vehicle and drive my happy self all the way there. And when I got there, what a wonderful sight it was to see. A sea of clergy. Everybody, everybody was there. Everybody of
Mm-hmm.
every faith. I mean, I believe the American Indians was there. We had some Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, African Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, people of every faith and nationality was there. And do you see how the trial turned out?
Mm-hmm.
Prayers went forth. Uh, um, Victory was won. And even now, we know that the enemy is trying to come back and remove those things. He's still fighting. You see, he's still fighting. But we know that the sentencing those people received really wasn't up to par, but it still got them what they needed. So they're trying to fight it on a federal level to try to get some relief. But no, they don't need relief because they were evil. They were operating under evil guise and they received their recompense. And it needs to stick. That's my opinion. But that
Right.
is one. That is one thing that on local level, on a local level of faith. The faith community showed up and showed out. And God showed up and showed out because he gave us a win.
Then let me ask you guys this one final question. What strategies or programs do you recommend other faith leaders who want to promote justice and bridge communities?
Okay. One of the strategies I'm saying, reach out to everyone. Don't allow the divisions of faith to continue to divide us when it comes to people knowing who the creator is. Because without the creator, no standard of living. You're just living frivolously. And you're probably living like the devil.
Wow.
You have no care for anyone. You don't even care for yourself because you don't understand what love and care is. You will always be in a funk, be in a wave, just operating literally by the seat of your pants because you're searching for love or you're searching for a cohesiveness. You can't have it. There's no sticking and staying when you don't love something.
Mhm.
And if you don't have the ability to give love, my goodness. Okay.
Mm. So love is the key.
Yes, it is. Because God is love. He really is. And if you don't have that, that is that thing that people are always searching for. Because I'm telling you, when somebody comes by you with a smile every day, a lot of people be mad. They're like, why you always smiling? You always smiling. You always, that's hate.
Yes,
Hey, smile. If I'm asking you, how you doing today? And you get angry about that, that's hate.
it is. It is.
And, you want to smile at people. You want to treat them with kindness. Uh, um, it says love covers a multitude of fault.
Hmm.
You can love somebody almost to the detriment of your own demise
Yep.
because you love people. You love people so much. That's why Martin's not here. That's why Malcolm isn't here. That's why a whole lot of our leaders are gone
Correct.
because they stood in the place of love. It's the same thing that Christ did. Now, he didn't ask them to lay down their life, but just like Christ freely gave it, those guys gave their life for the people.
Right.
And if it comes down to that, then so be it. Your life is not your own. And it's a beautiful thing. It
Hmm.
really is a beautiful thing.
It
That's,
is.
that's my opinion too. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be a giver and not a taker. It's a beautiful thing to be blessed,
Right.
to be able to give and to be able to inspire. It's awesome. It really is. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
So I'm going to give each of you an opportunity to do some parting words for our audience and
Okay.
tell them some things that you want them to know, as well as how is it that they can get in contact with you, for any questions, resources, or things of that nature.
Okay. We both have accounts for being contacted. Um, I am 8228. That's four numbers. 8228 Carmen Brown at gmail.com. And Mr. Brown is at Charles Avery Brown at gmail.com. That is the most convenient way to reach us. And we both have a couple of big events that we're embarking on. Mine will begin Pentecost Sunday, which is May 19th of this year, and it will culminate with the Juneteenth activity that we're having in Atlanta. It's a period of enlightenment, a spiritual enlightenment, and liberty that all of the Black people finally received when that day came out. So it's an idea to bring standards in the community to let you know who the creator is and that the creator is there to love them, to save them, and to keep them from all harm. Okay, and so the next thing we're doing is our first annual Unity in the Community, and that'll be August 3rd. I'm putting it out there because I want it to permeate in the world, throughout the world, reverberate throughout the world, that we will be celebrating all advocates in the state of Georgia and any other advocates around the nation that would like to come and join us in celebrating the work that we do. We want to love on one another. We want to inspire one another. And also we want to inspire the people that God has called us to serve.
Right.
Well, I want to say once again that I have a heartfelt thank you to you, Reverend Brown, and to you also, Mr. Brown, for sharing your individual perspectives. We're grateful, for the time and the expertise that you guys have shared with us.
Thank you.
And until next time, I want you guys to keep striving, and I want everyone to have some understanding, compassion, and justice, because
Indeed.
together we in America, we can stand together as one, but we all fall divided.
Yeah.
So until next time, I want to just tell you all that I thank you so much for being here. And until next time, you all have an excellent evening. This was a
You as
wonderful
well.
show, and I really appreciate you guys.